Hi, Roger. Thanks for coming over today. I'm very much looking forward to hearing what you have to say in response to a few of these questions. Let's go ahead and get started. When you're preparing to teach online or already teaching online and creating community among your students, what are some critical best practices for online instructors?
I think creating community starts with a syllabus that clearly states expectations for both the student and the instructor. And once that's established, then announcements 1 to 2 weeks before the course starts welcomes students to the class and expresses the instructor's commitment to being available and being supportive of students. I find it really helpful for students if you have a video introduction to the class as the instructor. A pre-term or a week 1 assignment that facilitates students becoming acquainted with each other is very helpful. And sometimes going into that, students becoming comfortable with the structure of the course. Class cafe kind of an activity in which students introduce themselves to each other. And perhaps a syllabus quiz so that they understand the key elements of the course structure. A course calendar outlining the assignments for each week, and then providing grading rubrics and examples of good quality work helps students understand what is expected of them and feel that the instructor is dedicated to helping them perform their best in the class. Excellent.
So once the class gets underway, how do you make sure your learners stay focused and engaged?
I think in online classes, it's especially important to have weekly activities, discussions, quizzes, papers, chats, exams, making sure that there's at least something going on every week. Some students tend to get lost without the structure of having to go to class 2 or 3 times a week. And so those weekly activities really keep them engaged and on task. Responding to students as an instructor, responding to their emails quickly. I try to respond within 24 hours or less to students' emails, and then providing individual feedback on assignments as well as group feedback is very helpful. Keeping students engaged with each other and the instructor throughout the course, using either discussions and or chats is very helpful for engagement. And then something that took me a little while to learn was just being enthusiastic. I actually believe that my students' feedback improved when I started putting exclamation points at the end, so things like good work instead of good work period, good work exclamation point. The same phrase with a little enthusiasm behind it can make a lot of difference.
Sometimes the little things make all the difference. So what do you do to possibly identify students who might be confused or having a difficult time?
I think the key thing for identifying students that are having trouble is having weekly activities that the instructor grades and responds to, because then you're always on top of the student's performance, and you can see if they're starting to struggle with assignments or exams or missing deadlines, then it's really obvious that they're falling behind and having problems. So just having several of those things going on every week is crucial.
All right, those are all the questions we had for you, Dr. Van Horn. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you, Dr. Van Horn, for joining us. I have a few questions I'd like to ask you about online teaching and learning.
Okay.
So tell me, in terms of preparing to teach online or creating community after you've already begun, what are some critical best practices for online instructors?
I think there are quite a few components to creating community, and it starts with having a syllabus that clearly states expectations for both the students and the instructor. And then a week or two before the class starts, having an announcement and a welcome email that welcomes students to the class and expresses the instructor's commitment to being available and being supportive of them. A video introduction to the class by the instructor that is posted on Blackboard is very helpful to make the instructor seem more real in an online environment. And then a pre-term or week 1 assignment, such as a class cafe that facilitates students become acquainted with each other and with the structure of the course. Sometimes you even incorporate a syllabus quiz into that kind of pre-class or week 1 assignment so that students really are aware of the course structure. A course calendar outlining the assignments for each week is a great help to keep students in an online environment focused on the calendar when they don't have the commitment of having to show up in class 2 or 3 times a week, keeping them on schedule. I think those are the key things to creating and maintaining a community of students.
Excellent, thank you. So as the class gets started, how do you keep the learners focused and engaged?
I think frequent activities, at least weekly activities, and a variety of them, such as discussions, papers, quizzes, chats, are important in keeping students focused. Posting announcements and or sending emails at least 2 to 3 times a week. Students are accustomed to having to do things 2 or 3 times a week in college courses, so that's helpful for them to have those reminders. I think responding to students' emails quickly, our guideline is 24 to 48 hours. I always try to respond the same day or at the very most within 24 hours. Giving students feedback on assignments within a few days at the most is very helpful to keep them from getting lost. Keeping them engaged with each other and the instructor through weekly discussions and chat sessions is helpful. And then finally, being enthusiastic. Putting an exclamation point at the end of a positive feedback really magnifies the effect of that for the students.
Those little things can make a big difference. So what do you do to identify students who may be struggling in a course?
I think for me it's really just primarily one thing, and that is having graded activities every week so that every week I see at least one example of the student's work and I can see if they're performing up to expectations, if they understand the assignments, what's expected of them, and if their grade is headed for trouble.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Dr. Van Horn. I don't have any other questions, but I appreciate your time.
Thank you.